Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Dion's Daily Dose for Thursday, September 3rd. Glad you could join me tonight. I'm going to talk to you about the Pines Town Council meeting that I attended. And so those of you who haven't been with me since my Congress days, this is my cat, one of them. I have 3 cats, a dog. My son has 2 guinea pigs. This is the black one, PBK. PBK stands for Perpetual Black Kitten because he was always very, very small. Then he got super fat, so we changed it to Perpetual Big Kahuna. So anyway, I attended the Pines Town Council meeting, and then today I had a meeting with Indiana NORML, NORML, and we talked about my stance on the legalization of cannabis. We talked about the criminal justice system. We talked about for-profit prisons. We covered a lot. I'm not going to go through everything that we talked about, but what I will do is I will find the link for the interview and I will post it for you to see in my campaign accounts. But I do want to touch on a couple of things that we talked about that I think are important. First, Pines Town Council meeting. One of the things that got brought up, first, the bad. I was a few minutes late. 6 minutes actually, because I was coming from LaPorte and I got stuck behind a couple of very, very slow people on the way. Let me see if I can get this a little better focused. But the good news is they didn't start until after I got there, so it worked out. They obviously passed the minutes from previous meetings. They did the treasurer report, and that's actually Friday. They're having a meeting. So tomorrow they're having a meeting at 6:30 to adopt the budget. If you would like to attend that. The fire department had 23 calls, 14 of which involved EMS. They actually had 3 motorcycle accidents that they had to call life flight for. They had 2 calls for people burning things that when they're not supposed to. They also got a $2,000 grant from the South Shore for flashlights for the fire trucks. The street department is working to keep the parks clean. They're clearing brush from the street signs and stop signs. There was a call for some bees by the council building, but they weren't able to locate the bees. They did put down some, some stuff that they had, I guess, to try to send them out, but they weren't able to find it, and they ran the lawnmower and everything around there, which usually, if they're underground especially, will agitate them and drive them to the surface. They didn't see any. On the Birch Street, apparently there were a bunch of trees that were cut by the pavers that were redoing the street, and they were piled up, but they got those picked up. Leaves. Apparently Valpo picks up the big pile of leaves. So they had to put 2,000 gallons of water to keep them from being too dry so that they would ignite. They got to stay safe. Let's see here. The building department granted a few permits for foundation, fence. Someone got a second letter for a storage trailer that shouldn't be there. Couple of so one of the issues is at California in second place. There are water issues. 0.3 of an inch of rain caused flooding on the street. So they're going to try to work with the street department in NIPSCO. They did consult a blacktop engineer that's thinking maybe if they create a drainage area that it will keep the standing water from off of the street. They did order some new signs for streets. Now, one of the big problems that they're running into in the Pines is Google Maps is routing people from Highway 12, from 20 to 12, right? They're going to the casino coming from Chicago or other areas. They take Highway 20. It has them cut through neighborhoods to get to Highway 12, right? To go over to the casino. They've tried contacting Google and working with them to get them to route people onto 520, which is a highway. That's what it's for, connecting 20 and 12. But Google apparently because the town of Pines doesn't have a subscription to Google, which costs $500, they won't work with them. Now, they did say they're going to contact IDEM, the Indiana Department of Environmental Management, to see if IDEM can put some pressure onto Google and get them to change the routing or whatever. They talked about was Halloween, right? Halloween's coming up next month, and they don't know whether they're going to have it. Whether they did discuss whether they were going to have prepackaged, like candy for the kids, whether you could just drive up and pick it up, flyers to inform people. They also said that there's high-speed traffic still on County Line Road. People are just flying down County Line. Those are the big issues right now. One more thing real quick that I'm going to share with you. One of the residents came up and said, I have a problem with someone's sign. Aren't there rules for when you can have political signs out? And I thought they meant like a yard sign, right? And they were like, yeah, the state of Indiana has certain rules about when you can have yard signs out 30 days before the election, right? Political signs. And the person was like, well, this sign is vulgar and blah, blah, blah. And the person was like, we know what sign you're talking about. And it's not a politician's sign. It actually belongs to the resident. Trying to get them to take it down violates free speech and et cetera. I'm going to show you. So here's the point. I was like, okay, where is this at? I made note of it, and I wanted to see exactly what they were talking about, because we're talking about, vulgarity and everything else. So what is this offensive sign that the people were against, right? So I drove by, and I took a picture, and this is it, ladies and gentlemen. This is what the neighbor was upset about and apparently wants the city to do something about. Look, regardless of how you feel about the current administration, as a homeowner, you have the right to put whatever you want on your property. That's basically what they were told, and it is what it is, right? So one thing I will say is I've been out to the Pines a few times to talk to the residents there. I talked to a member of the council when it was done, and he said to me that the people there really appreciate the fact that someone is actually coming out there talking to them and showing up to their meetings. Someone that actually is willing to listen to them and actually cares about them. So that did go a long way. The other thing that I wanted to talk about today is I had an interview with Indiana NORML today, NORML, and we covered a wide range of topics. One of the things that we talked about was the difficulty in getting cannabis legalized, even for medical use here in Indiana. And one of the things that I said, and this is just my belief, is that Eli Lilly has a lot of political power here in Indiana. I understand that most Republicans are reticent about legalization for recreational use, and I understand that. I'm a little iffy about that too. I think we can all agree, though, that there are medical benefits. It's been proven over and over. So we talked about that. We talked about how hard it would be for something like that to happen. And I said one of the things that I believe, and again, this is just my thought, is we have a supermajority of the Republican Party in the Indiana legislature. They're not going to allow a victory for the Democrats, as it were, right? But let me tell you something. Especially for our veterans, medical cannabis use is critical, especially for our veterans. It's been shown to help with PTSD, with anxiety, with many things. Now, I understand the reluctance for some people who believe that anyone can just go out and get a medical card. We're not talking about California here. We're talking about Indiana. There will be, if we can get it passed, it will be medical only, and there will be a very strict guideline on it. But more importantly, that's down the road. It's nothing that's going to happen even right away. But I'm going to tell you, one of the things that we did talk about that I believe everyone should kind of tune in for is, how can you affect change? How can you get what you want done with your elected officials, your mayors, your city council, your representatives, your congressmen, your president? How can you get them to do the things that you want them to do? So I broke it down. And this is just what I've learned from my experiences in the political arena. Number one, call/write your elected officials, whether that is a sheriff, whether that is a district attorney, whether that is your state rep, your congressman, your whomever. Make your voice heard. The vast majority of people do not reach out to their representatives. A lot of people vote, right? But they don't tell these people what matter to them. They just vote. A lot, if not all, of elected representatives will listen if enough people tell them what matters to them. If you have a particular thing, whether it is the legalization of medical cannabis, whether it is a certain amendment to the Constitution, whether it is term limits, whatever your special passion is that you want passed, make these people aware of it. That's number one. But above all, make sure that you're registered to vote, right? But also learn about all of the candidates on your ballot, from president all the way down to school board. Learn about these people. Learn who's on your ballot. Learn what they represent. Yes, read their political posts, read their campaign stuff, but learn about them as a person too. Because a lot of these people are very different in their personal lives than they are on their campaign website or their videos that they do. This is one of the reasons why I do this, so that you can get to know me as a person, not just what I say on my campaign posts, but how am I really like? How do I deal with how do I act around my family? You know, obviously pets trust me because I love them. He's so cute and fluffy. Anyway, look, learn about these people, learn who's on the ballot. And if you learn about someone that you really, really believe in, look, there's very, very little possibility that you're going to agree with someone 100%. Just like you shouldn't vote against or for someone on one single issue, you should also research and understand the entirety of what that person is about. If you support them all the way. Don't just give them a like on their post. Share them. Share their posts. Share their videos. Share their information. Donate if you can, whether it's time, whether it's money. Offer your yard for a yard sign. These are all things that matter. And these are all things that will work towards your goal of getting people into office that listen to you. Because I'm going to tell you, as someone from outside the political process until today, I've jumped in with both feet and let's run for office. It's easy to feel disenfranchised. It's easy to feel like these politicians don't care about you. And unfortunately, the numbers play that out. Most of them don't. But there are people that are legitimately running for office that do care, that are out there that care about you, that care about the community, that care about the constituents. Those people exist. Unfortunately, many of these people don't make it past the primaries because people are not informed and they don't have the money that some of these career politicians do. They don't have the money to flood social media, which I'll talk about in a moment, to flood TV stations, to flood radio stations. They don't have the kind of money that these career politicians do, so they get overlooked. One thing that I believe is really important, that's really critical for everyone, is learn who's on your ballot. Look into their issues, look into what type of person they are, and then support them 100%. Also, another thing you can do, run yourself. Look into it. I'm gonna do some videos on the things that I've had to deal with and ways out the system, because I'm going to tell you, this system is not designed to be easy. It's not designed for the average person to be able to jump in and start running for office, but you can do it. You absolutely can do it. And I don't have a problem helping anyone learn how to navigate. I don't care what your political party is. I don't care if you're an independent. I will let you know the steps that you need to take if I know, or at least point you in the right direction, because I truly believe that the more people on the ballot, the more voices get heard, the more questions get brought up, and the more people start to listen. That's just my belief. And I don't know about you, but I'm tired of seeing the same names over and over and over in our elections. I'm tired of seeing the same political families running things that have run them for many, many years. It's not all about money either. I'm going to tell you that. Word of mouth is the single best way for someone, especially for something like, it's harder for Congress, I'm not going to lie, but for state rep, for positions like that, word of mouth is the single best way to spread the word. Let your neighbors know, hey, this person running actually represents most of what I do. They're firm in their convictions. They believe the things that they say, and most important, they've listened. And that's what I'm about, right? But it isn't just about me. Regardless of where you live, learn who's on your ballot, learn what they're about, and reach out to them too. That's another thing that I pointed out is these people that are running for office, if you can't reach them now, if they are too busy to answer you while they're a candidate, how busy do you think they're going to be once they're actually working? Do you think they're going to have time to answer your questions once they're elected? That's just where I'm coming from, and it's a chronic problem. It isn't one party; it's across the board. It's just, unfortunately, we've seen it time and time again. One of the things that we also talked about was for-profit prisons. I think it's a plague, personally. One of the questions that they asked was, let's just say for a moment that marijuana, cannabis, whatever you want to refer to it as, was legalized and taxed in the state of Indiana. Where do you think the money should go? And my answer was, I think it should go to the criminal justice system. And they were like, wow, really? I said, yeah, a few different areas. Number one, the reason why our prisons became for-profit, right, privatized. Now, ISP is not privatized. The prison itself, although food service and medical are privatized. One of the reasons that they claim they did this was because it was cheaper. So if we remove that incentive, then we can actually have it run by the elected officials so that we have accountability, right? The other thing we can do is actually fund our Justice Department the way that it should be, insofar as public defenders, because we have public defenders' offices that are vastly overwhelmed with not only cases, but that's why so many people end up taking plea deals and all of that. We could go on and on. But these are all things that I think should be looked at, especially if something like this, if we have a funding source, why wouldn't we use it for the very thing that causes so many problems, for lack of a better term? There's a couple more things that I want to show you. Let's see, that's not it. So I went to the Porter County Lincoln Day dinner, so that you didn't have to, and It was pretty good, actually. They did a really good job. Yeah, we had, when you sat down and were eating, you didn't have to have your mask on, but otherwise you had to. And obviously the people that were up on stage, Todd Rokita was there, Lieutenant Governor Crouch was there and spoke. Both of them had a little speech that they gave. Many elected officials from Porter County were there, from Senator Charbonneau, Representative Soliday, Mayor of Valpo, Matt Murphy. All these people were there. There's Mr. Rokita. There is me and Lieutenant Governor Crouch. Oh, look at that. I want the truth. The truth violates community standards, right? That's pretty much it. That's what I wanted to show you. Nope. So everyone out there, at the very least, if you want to see change in the system, learn about the system. Learn about your elected officials. Learn about your candidates. Learn why they are against the very thing that you want. And since I had the interview with NORML today, obviously I'm talking about legalization. But it's broader than that. That's a single issue. I'm talking about a multitude of issues. What are you most passionate about, right? And one of the things that we talked about off camera, once the interview was over, they said that they were actually working with the Democrat running for AG. I forget his name, Wine something. And I said, well, what do you think of him, right? And they said, well, he seems like a good guy, blah, 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 blah. I said, okay, how's he? And he's very receptive to legalization. I said, well, what about Todd Rokita? And they didn't have nice things to say about Mr. Rokita. They said he is vehemently opposed in all aspects to legalization. I said, okay. I said, well, my issue with the Democrat is they sent me a text, and somehow I got on the list for the campaign to reach out to, and he got the Moms Demand Gun Sense candidate distinction, basically the thumbs up from them. And I said, I'm really concerned about that because they are a far left anti-gun organization. And of course, they don't agree with that assessment, but not NORML, but the campaign. And I said, and that's, that concerns me because the Second Amendment is very, very important to me, especially given the level of violence that's going on across the nation. We are seeing people attacked. We are seeing businesses burned to the ground. We are seeing riots. We are seeing protesters attacked. It's not just one side. We're seeing everywhere. And I believe in a person's fundamental right to defend themselves. And they said, well, again, don't vote based on a single issue, right? And I said, you're right. I will look into them. I will see. But it does concern me that this person is so rabidly anti-gun. But I will learn about everyone running on my ballot. And I urge you to do the same. As a Republican, obviously, I'd like for you to vote Republican. But learn about the people on your ballot, learn who they are, learn what they represent, because we are not going to drain the swamp if we keep voting the way we've been voting. We're not going to drain the swamp if we just keep electing career politicians over and over and over. It's just not going to happen. We have to become aware. We have to become educated when it comes to the people that are on our ballots, when it comes to the people that are running things, that are running our cities, our counties, our states. We need to learn about who these people are and what they represent. That's why I do this. That's why I talk to you so much. And I know some of these are quite long, and it's hard to make your way through them, especially if you're someone who just recently learned about me. Try to go through the titles, right? Learn about what matters to you and see where I stand on those issues. I'm going to start trying to do some shorter ones that are single issue oriented, and hopefully that'll make it easier to navigate. But I do welcome anyone to join my live streams at any time. Ask me any question that you want, and I will do my best to answer you in real time. So thank you very much for joining me this evening. I greatly appreciate it. Remember, if if you want to help, visit my website, dionbergeron.com, and sign up. Sign up to help. You can also email me, talk@dionbergeron.com. Ask questions that you want to have answered. If you have someone that you'd like to see on the show, send me an email. Let me know. You can also go to my website to donate. If you have extra pile of cash laying around, I will be more than happy to put it to great use. Look, campaigns take money. Ads take money. Signs take money. Handouts take money. Business cards, graphics, all these things take money. If you can help, I would greatly appreciate it. If you're going to go without food, do not donate. I'm not that politician that says just fast and send me money. That's one of the stupidest things I've ever heard. But you can go on my website, dionbergeron.com, or you can mail. Check or money order to Dion Bergeron for Indiana, 1018 Providence Street, Michigan City, Indiana, 46360. As always, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for spending your time with me. I greatly appreciate it. If you have any questions or concerns, don't hesitate to reach out for me. Remember, I do a live stream most nights at 7 Central. Dion's Daily Dose is what I call it. And the hashtag is Dion for Indiana. You can actually go to @Dion for Indiana, just like the hashtag. And that's all my social media. So thank you very much once again. God bless you. God bless Indiana. God bless the US of A.